friends, and welcome back to my crafty space. My name is Crystal, and in today's video, I am going to be working on Project Life Week 3 for 2021. For today's spread, I am using the Ali Edwards Action Story Kit, and I am working inside of a 9x12 album. I'm actually having a lot of fun working with the different configurations of pages. So for this one, I've got a page that has 3 of those 4x6 size cards, and then everything else is a 3x4. So that gave me opportunities to have lots of photos and lots of journaling, which is something you guys know that I love. So what I'm going to do is I am going to put you guys on fast forward. I've got some stamping planned out that I want to do, and then I will be using some of the embellishments on here as well. So I will have you on fast forward while I do that. And then once this spread is all put together, I will slow back down so that we can close out of the video for today. So let's go ahead and jump right in. All right, so to get started with today's spread, what I'm going to do first is put together a bunch of different journaling cards and a title card and all kinds of things using the Action Story stamp. I always get the story stamps and I feel like I don't use them enough. So one of the things I really want to try doing is to just try and create at least one project, preferably more than one, but at least one where I'm pulling out those stamp sets and putting them to use on a project. And I love using them on something like Project Life because I can create my own patterned cards, I can create my own filler cards, and I can create my own journaling cards. Also, what's beautiful about that is I'm able to create repeated elements that actually help to tie together the spread a little bit better, which is what I'm going to be doing today. So the first thing I did there is I took off the filled arrow stamp that comes in the set, and I stamped a pattern where I've got a row of them pointing to the right and then a row of them pointing to the left, and they just nudge in with each other and look super good. So I did that using my Otter Rock gray ink from Ali, and I'm going to use that for my title card. My idea is to just put a label sticker on top of it and then to stamp in my dates. Now for my journaling cards, what I did is I created my card canvas inside of Photoshop, and I just made sure to start my text low enough that I would be able to put one of those arrows up and down on top of it where it could essentially point down. But then what I wanted to do from here was to vary the direction of the arrows. So the way that the arrow is pointing on the spread indicates the photo that goes with the journaling, which you'll be able to see a little bit better once I get all of these completed. I also pulled out 4 different inks to use. I used the Rose Garden for the pink, the Honeyman yellow for the yellow, the Columbia for the teal, and Pendleton for the red. So all colors that you can find inside of this kit in general, which I think helps to tie all of the cards together in the end. Then once I had all of those arrows on here, so they're pointing all 4 directions, then I took the stamp set that says a plan of action, or the sentiment, it says plan of action, and I'm going to stamp that through each of these arrows. So that's going to act as my title for each of these cards. Then what I did is I have 3 blocks of text on each of those cards, which you can kind of see that as we're looking at them now. What I did here is I took their numbers, so there are 3 numbers, 1, 2, and 3, that come on this stamp set, and I wanted to use those to mark 3 sections, so section 1, section 2, and section 3. So I just made sure to make my blocks of text roughly the size of, or the height of that stamp. And then that way I can put all 3 numbers on here. So I'm just going to use my gray ink again to add the numbers. I'm going to skip over a bunch of it so we just get to this point. So there you can see how I've got this repeat element where every single card has an arrow, plan of action, and 1, 2, 3. This is going to help tie everything together and make it look really cohesive when we get it here on the spread. Now I'm going to cut this title card into a 3x4, and I cut it too short. I don't know what was happening in my brain at that point, but I cut it too short, so I put it back up at the top and realized that, you know what, I actually don't really want the gray. It's a little too dark. So I redid the whole pattern again and did it in the Rose Garden pink color instead, and I like it so much better. So I'm actually kind of happy that I messed up that first one so that I could get it to look like this. Now, one of the things I liked about the journaling cards in this kit, especially the one with the circles on it, is the way that the colors are intermixed. So you've got the red with a little bit of pink in it, and the teal with a little bit of green, and the yellow with a little bit of red. And I thought I could mimic that on this card by adding a red label sticker on top of the pink arrows. So that label came from the Storytelling Basics collection from Allie. I got a whole bunch of those because I love those label stickers. They are awesome. Now, one of the things I wanted to document this week is I wanted to put a small insert in between my two spreads just to document the fact that the inauguration happened and talk about Joe Biden being our 46th president, and then Kamala Harris being the first woman and African American and Asian American vice president. So I wanted to make sure to put that in here. There's not much journaling beyond that. I paired it with a photo of the front page newspaper from the New York Times the day after the inauguration. So that earlier this week, I did a video of some current events, and I talked about the app that's called Today's Front Pages. That is the app where I get those images from. I know there is a free version and a paid version. I use the free version, which means that I can get the day, like the day of front pages. So if I log in today, I'm going to get today's front pages. The paid version, I believe, allows you to go back to any date and pull that front page. So I actually set a reminder for myself to make sure to get this front page the day after the inauguration. And that's how I have this particular front page photo. So for that one, I pulled out one of the papers. It's a 3x8 paper, but it's actually 3.5 inches by 8.5 inches. So I pulled that out and added the text on there, just ran that through my printer, put the photo on top, and on the back side, I have a full photo from a day that we went to the zoo, which is one of the events that I am documenting today. That I just am going to hole punch, and it will go directly in the album outside of a page protector, and that will be totally fine with me. So now I'm just going to move on to embellishing. For this, I chose to go with these puffy arrow stickers. The thing with using a lot of 3x8 photos is I generally don't embellish 3x4 photos. I generally don't embellish 3x4 photos very heavily because they are so small that a lot of the embellishments take up too much room. I don't know, they can help tell the story, which is what I'm going to be doing here today, but I also don't want them to cover up too much of the story, if that makes sense, by covering up too much of the photo. So using these puffy arrows was perfect because they don't take up a ton of space and they can help draw your attention to the thing that I am actually journaling about. On the back side of that 3x8 or 3.5 by 8.5, I put the full page photo that is me looking over an enclosure where the polar bear was out running around at our zoo. I am going to pair that with one of the fabric add-on stickers, which is super cool. It's just this like wavy green pattern. And on top of that, I'm going to put one of the wonky circle chipboard, and that one says capturing and documenting the action, which I thought was pretty perfect for that picture. So I will add on these puffy arrows, and then I'm also going to go through my stash, grab some tiny phrase stickers that are black with white text, and then find ones that seem to go decently well with the story that I'm telling. In terms of photos and stories this week, on the left-hand side, I snagged a picture of Izzy doing her schoolwork one day. We were working on a reading list, so that's her working on that, and you can see that her cat is on her lap just kind of like peeking over, and I thought that was super cute. So that's that one. The one right under that is an art project that she made throughout the week. We are doing a weekly art class with Artists and Crafts, which is a virtual class. So we created these ballerina art pieces using coffee filters and water and markers. Well, it's just a super cool project. So I took a picture of that. The one on the very bottom is a picture of Aaron with this big, like, green screen thing on his chair. It was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. I was walking behind him, so he wanted to block me out and create like a virtual background. So he put that on his chair, and I thought it was ridiculous. So I took a picture of it. And then on the right-hand side, the main stories that I have here are in the upper left-hand corner. There is a basket with my coffee mug in front of it. And that story, I'm talking about the house basket that I have started using, which is basically an area to add a bunch of supplies into your basket, things that you would normally use every day, a planner. I have a reading journal, the book that I'm reading currently, my one little word journal, things like that I want to have access to at any point in time. I stick it in the basket and I can just carry it around with me. And that was totally an idea that I got from Brandy Kincaid. On the upper right-hand corner, that is a picture of Jonah, who dumped out boxes and boxes of puzzle pieces onto the floor. And the story is just about deciding whether or not to just throw those away. And ultimately we didn't. We sat down, spent some time reorganizing them, and then put them into plastic bags that hopefully he won't be able to get into. The bottom right-hand photo is one of my daughter and my niece. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law came over with our niece on Sunday, and we got to see her and hold her, and Izzy held her, and it just, made everybody's day. So that's that story. And then the last two pictures here, in addition to that 3.5 by 8.5 photo. All of those were taken at our zoo here in Michigan. We are members of the Detroit Zoo. And so we went over the weekend and took a stroll around the zoo and just enjoyed seeing the animals. So we've got a picture with the tiger and then my picture looking at the polar bear. And I believe that is pretty much it. All right, you guys, that completes my spread for today. I love how this one came out and that I was able to create so many different patterns and journaling cards and all the things using that stamp set from today, along with some of the other bits and pieces from the Action Story Kit. Super fun lens to use in like plan of action for the different things that we had going on this week. I hope that you guys enjoyed seeing this spread come together. If you did, I would love a thumbs up on this video down below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can see all of the content I have coming your way in the future. I will be back again on Thursday, so tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I will be going live and working on the next couple of days in my Week in the Life album. So that is generally from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Thursdays. Otherwise, I also have another video coming your way on Friday for Story Kit Crush. So it will be my last story using the Kindness Story Kit, and then we will be moving on to the next kit for the month of February. I hope that you guys have a great rest of your week, and I will catch you all in the next video. Bye now.